Vinyl Gang, we got another great top 5 coming at you. We're doing these shows where we rank a band's top 5 albums. Just the top 5, not the top 10, not the whole catalog, the top 5.
The nitty gritty, the important ones, right?
Yeah.
The top ones.
The top ones.
The top 5.
Top 5.
What are we doing today, Wheels?
Today we're doing The Doors.
The Doors. What a great band. As I get older, I love them more and more.
They only had 9 studio albums, 6 with Jim Morrison, and really when Jim left this world, so did The Doors.
Yeah. The posthumous releases, it seems like all bands that lose a member do that. It's just, he's an irreplaceable member. I mean, you've got a voice like that, you've got a personality like that, a stage presence like that. There's nobody that's going to take his place.
Yeah, Jim was the man.
So we want you guys to go to our YouTube channel. We want you to go to our social media. We want you to tell us what you want us to open. We want you to tell us some good ranked shows, some good top 5 shows, show ideas, full show ideas. All of that stuff can be done through social media. So don't forget to do that.
And like videos.
Like videos, make comments, do it all.
All right, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Number 5, we're going to start off with a little bit of controversy.
No, gosh darn it.
Oh.
I better take that one.
The Soft Parade.
Yes.
So,
kind of a maligned Doors album.
Yeah, it's the Doors album that gets a lot of grief because they added all these strings and
orchestration.
It was a big departure for them.
Yep.
Came out in '69, and it's been called wildly experimental.
Yeah, for the Doors, for sure. I mean, they are one of those bands, and I've said it before, that when you hear them, when you hear a little piece of their music on the radio or you're watching television or something, you know it's the Doors. And there aren't a lot of bands from the era that they existed in that are that recognizable.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I feel like Soft Parade needs to be in the top 5. I love it. And this is our list. So
yeah, well,
it's number 5.
I think there are others that fit in there, but I do love the Soft Parade. I love the direction that they took with it. And I'm not going to argue with you as this is our number 5.
Good.
What's number 4?
That's a good one.
That is a good one. And
All
that's
right.
a good pressing of that.
Yeah.
I do not have that album.
That is a great press. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Next on the hit parade.
We've only got 4 more to keep in order. Morrison Hotel.
Morrison Hotel.
Well, this was released February 9th, 1970 on Elektra. This says that it went platinum in the U.S. I'm sure it's been recertified and sold millions more than that. This is kind of, Jim stepping out as like the guy in the band. Yeah.
And this is, since Soft Parade received such kind of not really critical acclaim, but critical backlash, this was the Doors getting back to the Doors.
Yeah.
Getting back to some blues roots and just really, really having fun with the songs again.
I'd probably switch the 5 and 4 here, but let's keep going. Let's see what else we have going.
Next, Strange Days.
Right down to the weird ass cover. And you know that I'm surprised this isn't John's number 1 because there's little people on the front.
Oh yeah. And this, I love this cover, but this came out 8 months after their initial debut.
Yeah. What a meteoric rise they had. And we've talked about it. Bands in this era made more than one album in one calendar year. Make an album, go tour, make another album, go tour. It was just a schedule that you can imagine wreaked havoc with these guys' personal lives.
Yeah, and it was weirder and darker than the initial release. So, in '67, it hit right at the perfect time for that kind of album.
Yeah, Vietnam era when there are songs that you see in movies from that era that just come up all the time. And the Doors are also one of those bands that is just kind of frozen in time into that era and into everybody's thoughts about that time.
And it was recorded on an 8-track.
Yeah. Big deal. Big deal at the time. All right. So that's number 3.
Number 3.
Number 2.
Number 2. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
We are. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the nitty-gritty.
Number 2, The Doors, L.A. Woman.
It's so hard for me to agree that this is number 2 because this is almost like a perfect Doors album.
Yeah.
I mean, the debut and this are so close. I mean, I feel like the debut was such a different introduction into pop music than anybody had ever heard. And that's the reason, like I said, that they're so identifiable because they were just so different. They had that piano and organ and Manzarek playing the bass with his left hand. And so I love this record. This is probably my number 1, but I love the slip cover. Everything about it is so cool.
This Rhino release is really, really cool.
When I was in LA with my wife, I heard stories about, I saw the place where Jim stayed while they recorded this album. I saw the building that the studio was in where they recorded this album. This is a statement piece for the band, no doubt.
Yeah, and this came out in 71. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but
okay.
71. Okay. I love like The Wasp.
Oh yeah, that's great.
There's just some really different songs on this album.
They didn't follow that cookie cutter pop music kind of ethos. And I think again that's something that makes the band so original.
Yeah, they kind of did their own thing and blazed their own trail. And they were known for their live shows. You never know what you're going to get with Jim.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so at number 2, L.A. Woman.
And you know what's number 1?
It's got to be the debut, right?
The debut.
Yeah. I love the cover. I love the way that the logo looks, the big Elektra logo down in the corner, and then these shots of the guys on the back are just really, really cool. It says late 60s.
Yeah.
Right?
It really does.
And this is another example, really, of a band's debut album being their greatest hits.
Yeah. There's not a bad song on this album.
No, not at all. And they're a good band to do a ranked top 5 of, just because their studio output is so limited. It kind of makes it a little bit easier. But groundbreaking band, and still groundbreaking in my opinion.
Yeah, and Light My Fire was starting to get a lot of airplay, which is amazing because it's kind of a longer song, but it was getting a lot of airplay in 67.
Not just a longer song, but a song that's got a really long keyboard intro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some groundbreaking in many, many different ways. Also, they went on Ed Sullivan and they wanted him to change the lyrics to Light My Fire.
No.
And Jim said, sure. And then they performed it and he did not.
Yeah.
That's Jim Morrison encapsulated right there.
So we left out of the Morrison albums, Waiting for the Sun. I mean, really, you can shuffle the deck any way you want. I really like Soft Parade. I didn't want to leave it out.
Me neither. I like Waiting for the Sun, too. I like everything they did when he was still alive. The band kind of tried to regain their footing after he passed away, and it's just like we said, there are people in bands who are irreplaceable, and Jim Morrison is one of them.
Absolutely.
Sure. So Waiting for the Sun's off the table. So we have number 5 is, what was it?
Oh, no.
It's been
Soft Parade.
Soft Parade at number 5, which again, much maligned by a lot of people, but such a good album. Number 4,
Morrison Hotel.
Number 3, Strange Days. Number 2, L.A. Woman. And number 1, their debut album, The Doors, self-titled. And, again, these top fives are a good way to distill an entire band's catalog down into, more of a bite-sized little chomp. And we'd love for you guys to come forward with more ideas of top fives. We also want to do some showdowns, like between this band and that band, or even within a band's catalog, this album and that album. All of these ideas can be shared with us on our social media. We want you guys to interact. We want you to know, or we want to know what your top five and the order is for the Doors. So please interact with us. Please talk to us. Tell us what you want us to do. Tell us what you don't want us to do. Good comments, bad comments, all comments are welcome. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all the next time around.